Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. It's just before midnight, and we are continuing with turn 2 of Britannia. The Romans have done their turn, and so now is ready for the Belgi's turn. Oh, wait, as we can see, the Belgi's are gone, so it's the Welsh's turn. Oh, they are submitted to the Romans here, so they basically have nothing to do. Again, they could try to attack Cheshire. Makes no sense at all. No real sense for them to do anything. Romans aren't going to let them grow. So, yeah. So that means we are on to the Brigantes' turn. All right, so they are the last hope. So obviously the first thing to do is count population growth. 1, 2, 3, 2 halves is 4. That means they get an army and have 1 leftover point. They had 1 from before, so they're now up to 2 plus an army. Let's see here. Brigantes are right there. So they get 1 guy, and they're poised to get another one next turn. They have 2 saved up. Oh boy, what to do? So, and they get points for destroying Roman armies, 3 each, 1 point for each fort. On turn 4, Strathclyde, Galloway, and each other area. So, again, they'd love to keep a hold of these. They may need to worry about submitting to the Romans. They can do it when they're down to 3. They can't assume that the Romans are just going to take a beeline to try to get all these, because there's plenty of points here also for the Romans. But what to do? What to do? There is a potential to strike south here to kill a Roman fort. However, again, that's only worth 1 point. So it's probably not the smartest thing to do. And there's 2 armies, 4 armies. Yeah, just no. So they gotta hope that the Romans will lose some if they attack them. The question is how to defend this. So let's assume we're gonna. I still haven't placed the growth yet. I'm holding on to it. So technically, I should place it before I move. So I'm thinking out like, let's use the arrows. So obviously we're not attacking here, but we're thinking about. All right, let's reinforce here. Let's reinforce here. They can only have 1 overstack. They could end up having 3 here. So let's say. See, we can move like this. We'd have to end there to. So if the Romans come into the Highlands, they'd have to pay a pretty penny price, hopefully. Now, obviously, this sort of makes them a target here, having 3 there. If the Romans elect to try to, like, yeah, let's kill Briganti guys, take Strathclyde, they might not attack enough other provinces this turn with a plan to hurt them and not let them submit. So that's a thought. So is this too risky to put 3 here, or is this the chance to lure them forward to try to attack and potentially kill an army or 2 of the Romans? They're going to have to, if they want to get these big points for here, if you remember what the Romans, Alban and Dalriada and Dunedin are worth 3 each. That's these 3 guys here. So they're going to need to overrun through here which they could come back from as far as here. 1, 2, 3, put 2 there, and then probably want 2 or 3 each there to try to take those Hillens. That's only 8 total armies. They could go 2 and 3 and 3. That's 8 right there of all these. And that doesn't leave, well, from down here, they can hit here. So they've got armies down here. So, I don't know. That's way up here, though. Yeah, I think that's good. I think to attack Strathclyde, the Romans would have to take a risk. They might have to forego one of these or go with less dudes, like 2 here and 2 here and 2 here. And yeah, so I think the points most, well, what was Strathclyde for the Romans? Boy, is there even Strathclyde on this list? It's not in the halves. It's not in the alphabetical S. Oh, there it is. Yes, it is. It's worth 1. It's only worth 1. Galloway, worth 1. Let's see. Cumbria, only worth 1. So they already got Pennines is worth 2. So should we put more in the Pennines? Should we have only 2 here and put 3 in there? Don't know. And see, then the Romans might try to make them submit, hitting here and maybe here if this is weakly defended, and let them maybe keep the Pennines but make them submit. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna do that as the Brigantes. I'm not sure if that's the best thought or not. More in the Pennines, more in Strathclyde. This is worth the most points to them. Let's let's do that. All right, Brigantes. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of boring until things, when the Romans have spread out more and there's forts to pick on and all that stuff. The Belgi had a little bit of fun there. Maybe that wasn't the best place where they went or not. Who knows? And they did get wiped out. Was that in hindsight? Well, you're not even going to be able to see that here. Yeah, I'm gesturing here. But it was fun. So we are to now the Picts' turn. The Picts, who picked on the Caledonians, what do they do next? We'll see. They have 1, 2, 3 growth points. So they did, deoccupy a couple territories and only picked up 1. So they have a little less growth. I'm going to move the Belgies off this track. So they're gone. Let's unclutter there. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4 half pointers. That's 2, 3. So they get to keep their saved up half. They get to grow an army. Well, yeah. Again, this is going to be the case of, do they, defending here is not a great place, but it makes the overrunning more difficult. So by having like 2 armies here, that makes it challenging. Well, let's thinky about that. Boy, I'm tempted. to that's a good like slow them down move. Thing is, if you put 1 here, this guy will be able to move to one of these 2. They won't be able to put 2 and 1 and 1 other. So the Romans could come up with 4 here to overrun, and there could be 1 left with just a single guy in it, and they could hit that. And so maybe they don't try to get all 3 of them, forego 1 that has the 2 in it. They can't have 2 here and 2 here and 2 here with my current setup. So that's one of the disadvantages of what we did here, picking on the Caledonians. If we hadn't have done that and stayed spread out down here, we wouldn't have had so much far north, and they could have done a 2-2-2. Sounds like some kind of a soccer defense or something. Excuse me. Well, let's decide. I totally like the idea of slowing the Romans down here. Now, we should look at the Picts' points. All right, they don't get as much for destroying. They get a lot for destroying forts. So in some way, letting the Roman in to take these and build forts up here so that hoping then later the Romans leave because they'd have no limes points for areas up here, only in England, not in Scotland / Pickland or Wales, that they might leave. And of course, forts in these, yucky, hard to hit. I'm liking this here now. So, which is worth more points? So turns 4, 7, 10. It's 1 point for each turn. It doesn't matter which one. At the very end of the game, Alban, Mar, and Moray are worth more. So Alban technically sounds like it's these three. They get more points, but that's way at the end of the game. See, the Scots are going to start showing up over on this side soon. So yeah, I think having 2 in Alban to me sounds like a better thing, kind of. All right, now the question is, do they spread out? The Caledonians could try to attack if they just leave 1 there, but that could be very risky. Caledonians, they could, if they had bad time, they could get wiped out. Now, 1, 2, assuming they're not going to hold this, they probably will lose this. They have only a half, so yeah, their picks are not going to grow next turn. Like 97% chance. The Romans would have to do something really weird, not take any of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if they say had this and 5, if the Romans for some reason did not punch their way in here, decided to stop here and maybe try to, smack down the entirety of the Brigantes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the picks could potentially grow next turn. Let's play the Picts as a little bit overconfident. They smack the Caledonians. They think they're going to hide up in the Orkneys. They're not going to come out. The Caledonians are not going to be able to grow. They're only going to get 1 more point because they have 2 halves. They're at 1. They won't be able to grow. So there we go. We're doing this with our picks. That's our strategy. Might not be the best, but that's what they're doing. All right. So that, folks. Bump, bump, bump. Oh, it's the Caledonians' turn. I want to say, we almost finished in less than 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get the Caledonians done. It's now their turn. They add 1 pop point. Where's their card? Now, they don't get any points for fighting the Romans, because they should never see the Romans. That'd be really weird if the Caledonians got there. Caithness, Hebrides, and Orkneys. So they're already squatting on 2 of those. They would love to get the Caithness back. The question is, do they try it this turn? If they attack and succeed, they'd be leaving this. If they went in with 2. When the defender's wiped out or if he retreats, the attacker has to stay. He can't retreat back. There's a change to that in like the latest edition Dual Britannia. But if he, say, loses 1 army, he could say, retreat back and still hold those 2. He'd get another point. He could grow the next turn and maybe try it again on turn 4. If he gets lucky and takes it, he'll be set up. He could wait till next turn, but then the Picts might reinforce it then, because they, the Romans have hit. The Romans are, I don't know, or they've retreated some from the Romans and have more guys up there. I'm gonna say go for it. I'm gonna say like, let's try it. Let's, if they lose 1, they'll retreat. And they've lost an army, but if they make it, if they can roll a 6 on either die. Now, this guy will be hitting them on a 5 or 6. They'll be hitting back on 2 chances for a 6. It's kind of risky, kind of foolish, but we're going to do it. We're going to try it. All right. The Angered Caledonians. All right, let's see if we move this up a little better. Here, so you can see more of that. So they're needing 6s on the black dice, and the red die needs a 5 or 6. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Something fell out. I always roll them together. If something falls out, it's like void the whole thing. Something went wrong. Okay, the worst happened. They didn't get a hit, and they got hit. They lost one. The poor Caledonians. No retreat, because now the odds are really bad. So, in hindsight, bad move. Bad move, Mike. Bad move, Caledonians. So, there we are. Just past 15 minutes. 16 minutes. Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. We have finished turn 2. We're pushing on to turn 3 for the next one. Let's see if I can read that. That's 185 to 260 AD. The lone Raider Invader will be the Irish. On turn 3, the Irish show up in the Atlantic here. They are Raiders, which means they may elect to attack a place, go inland, and then retreat back to sea. And they potentially get points for destroying Roman armies or fort. Now, if they tried to raid, say, Diffid, and they killed it, they'd get their point for killing the thing. They don't get any points this turn for raiding. I don't think they ever get any special points for raiding. That's, what am I doing? That's the Britannia card. No. All right. So, I really should just wait till next turn to look at this, but I'm curious. I want to know. So bear with me for 17 more seconds at least. The Irish. All right, here we go. Each Roman fort 1. Each non-Irish army that is destroyed while raiding, i.e. when the surviving attackers return to sea, is 1 point. So they could get 1 point for hitting Cornwallian, well, they wouldn't want to hit them, their fellow red guys. They could. You could. You actually could do that. But more likely they'd try to hit the Roman fort. And technically, this waterway here, Huis is on the coast, Avalon and Huis. So they could actually raid into here. We will see what they do on the latter part of turn 3. But for now, that will be our ending. Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. Big battles up there in the north. Well, big battles. The Caledonians got their butt kicked. Everyone else just sort of sat. Really boring turn. So, cut it short here. Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, playing Britannia. All you folks, take care and ciao.